had such a good time in that classroom. Thank you so much for inviting me to come in, giving me a good excuse.
Good,
It was
good.
great. How did you feel about what went?
It was very busy in there. We had a lot of attendance on that particular day.
Which is great.
And it did. It kind of distracted me a little from the fact that you were in there watching,
Right.
to observe me. But I think that the kids accepted it quite well, and the parents were okay with it. So,
Yeah.
and having watched the tape myself, it's always
Right.
nice to take a step back and
That's
having
always
the
good.
opportunity just to see, because there's a lot of things that, you know, in the classroom when you're working, you miss out on
Absolutely.
seeing what some of the other kids are doing when you're busy with one particular family or child.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the whole goal of my coming in to do the observation was, as you remember, to support you in some new ways or some additional ways that you could help Scott to enhance Jacob's language development in the classroom. And what was a specific activity that you and Dad had planned?
Well, as I had told you earlier, one of the hard times I'm having is trying to plan an expressive language goal in accordance with his IFSP, and you know, Dad wants him to learn more words. So trying to balance that with Dad's interest in having him do the, you know, get up and go type activities. Dad had, you know, liked the idea that the slide was in the classroom because he had been having a hard time with the slide. So we wanted him to play with that a little bit more. So the two of us kind of put our heads together to think, okay, well, if you want to do the slide, what is going to help him with his expressive language goal and using the slide? So we came up at the home visit, we decided we would have the slide available. And Dad and I talked about some of the words that he wanted Jacob to learn, and where he is just starting to do a lot of imitation. We decided that would work on prepositions and placement type words.
When you went over to the slide activity, it was nice to see that Dad helped you set it up. Let's view that a little bit to see what that activity went. Before we look at that activity, tell me what you envision your goal to be during the activity. What do you think your role would be with Dad? What were you hoping for in that activity? And then we'll take a look at it and see how it went.
Well, again, Dad pretty much had it set in his mind at the home visit that he wanted to use the slide.
Right.
And I did have the chance to brainstorm with him because, you know, that is, obviously you use language when you're playing on the slide and things like that.
Yes.
But I wanted to pick Dad's brain about how much language do you think he'll use on a slide, because his goal is expressive language. I had prepared him at the home visit, you know, strategized with him about what words might be used, you know, like down the slide, you know, up the slide. So I think that I was hoping that my role in that would be, again, to help be there to guide him and to help to prompt him when to use those type of words with him.
Okay. Let's take a look at it.
Okay. And looking at this too, you don't realize actually how busy that area was. When you're in the thick of it, you don't really, you know, see the big picture of how busy it was.
Slow that you were just talking about.
Yes, that was when he was going slow.
Take a really good look at what you're doing, what Dad's doing, what Jacob's doing, and tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what you see your role as in actuality here.
As I was watching this, I was looking at the fact that Dad isn't really as actively involved as I was. I seem to be kind of taking the lead, and, you know, and in hindsight, you know, I don't know if I was doing that because there were other children involved and I didn't want him to feel like he had to take the commitment on of doing the activity with all the kids, or if it was just my nature as the teacher and me.
Which we've talked about a lot.
Exactly, to jump in and play with the kids, because it is a lot of fun to play with the kids, you know. But in looking at Dad's face,
yeah, look at what Dad is doing. Look what you're doing here.
Yeah, he's very, you know, somber looking, and although he's having fun, he doesn't seem as engaged as I did, which maybe if I had, you know, just pulled back a little bit.
Think again about Dad standing there and you not being there. Envision how that, whether it would have worked if you just weren't there, or if there was something more direct you might have been able to do.
Maybe if I had directed him and said, I'm going to set up the slide now for you and Jacob to have your activity. I noticed that some other kids want to play there as well. How about if I help you get it set up, and I'll take a step back and, you know, let you and Jacob explore the activity like we had talked about, and just gave it back to him instead of facilitating. I felt like looking at this like I'm facilitating,
Right.
instead of letting Dad facilitate, which I was hoping to have him do. And you know how I love to play with the kids, so it's hard to take a step back sometimes.
I share that with you, Barbara, so I certainly
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.